Hello, everybody. I'm Melissa, and welcome back to Book Bar, and welcome to my March wrap-up. This month, I did not do a mid-month wrap-up. I was on vacation, and then I got back, and I got COVID, and my voice sounded terrible, and it hurt to talk, so this is going to be pretty rapid fire. I'm just going to kind of go through the books and my rankings. Some of them I might talk about more, but for the most part, I don't feel there's 31 books I got to talk about. So I read 31 books and I DNF'd one, and it was just a soft DNF. I just was not focused on it, and I decided to put it down for now, and I'll go back to it. We'll talk about that when I get there. But yeah, I got 31 books to talk about, so we're just going to go ahead and get right on started. The first book that I read in the month, so if you're new here, the way I do it, I talk about the books that I read and how I completed them, the order that I completed them. So it might not necessarily be the first book I started in the month, but it's the first book that I completed. So the first book I completed in the month of March was Wicked Intentions by Elizabeth Hoyt. It's the first book in the Maiden Lane series. I enjoyed this. I gave it 4.5 stars. It was Lazarus and Temperance, a widow heroine, forced proximity. They're working together. There's caretaking. It was fantastic. But yeah, 4.5 stars. I had just a few small issues with it. And that was it. Then the next book that I finished was Twisted Lies by Anna Huang. This is the fourth and final book in the Twisted series. This is Stella and Christian. Stella is the last friend of the friend group, and Christian is Christian Harper. He was Reese's boss in the second book. And he's kind of like this rich, enigmatic guy that nobody really knows a ton about. And you see him in books 2 and 3. He owns the apartment building that Stella and Jules live in. And what was I saying? I don't even know. I got distracted. Ignore my bed. I have to wash my sheets today, so I'm not going to worry about fixing it. But yeah. Christian and Stella is having issues with a stalker again, that she had previously, and so she ends up living with Christian, and yes, it was fantastic. I gave it 4.5 stars, probably my second favorite in the series, third favorite. I'd probably go Twisted Hate, Twisted Games, Twisted Lies, Twisted Love. That's probably my ranking that I would do it. But yeah, I had a good time with it. Then the next book that I finished was The Co-op by Tara DeWitt. This was just a fun, standalone. I needed an audiobook to just do some housework. It was Lauren and Deacon. They were friends, kind of lovers. Then they ended up hating each other, and now they're back to being together. So it was a marriage of convenience, forced proximity. They have to live together. He is really into the praise. And getting praised. But yeah, I had a good time. I gave it 4 stars. It wasn't as good as Funny Feelings in my opinion, but I had a good time with it. Then I finished To Hate Adam Connor by Ella Mays. This is the second book in the Love and Hate book series, and this was Lucy and Adam Connor. I think I talked about this in a vlog. I think I talked about it in my super late romance takeover readathon vlog. I'll link up here. But yeah, so Lucy is Olive's best friend, and she ends up living with Olive and Jason Thorne for a little while, and there's this wall that Adam Connor lives on the other side of, and Lucy was sneaking a peek over it, and she sees Adam's son doing something happening to Adam's son. She goes to try to save him, and Adam thinks she's a creepy stalker and has her arrested, and things go from there. But yeah, I gave it 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. I think I liked Jason Thorne a little bit more, but I did really have a good time with it. Then I finished Hockey with Benefits by Tijan. This is a new release. I got that from Tijan. It's a hockey sports romance. This was Mara and Cruz. I didn't love it. I gave it 3.5 stars. I had an okay time with it. But yeah, it was new adult college romance. They were friends with benefits turned more. Then I finished Dr. Dearest by R.S. Gray. This was 4 stars. I had a decent time with it. This is Natalie and Connor. It's a brother's best friend. they're coworkers. They're both doctors together. She might be a nurse. But yeah, they end up being roommates. Kind of similar situation in Twisted Lies, where it's like, I need you to watch over my sister. And or not Twisted Lies, Twisted Love, and things go from there. There's forced proximity, obviously. There's another trope in there that I'm not going to say. But I didn't hate it. So I gave 4 stars. Then I finished The Birthday List by Devney Perry. This was, I think, my first Devney Perry I ever read. It was kind of sad. It's Poppy and Cole, and basically Poppy is a widow. And her husband, in the prologue, she's married. She's very happily married, making plans with her husband. Her husband has this list of things. Instead of a bucket list, he has a birthday list. It's like things he wants to do before certain birthdays. And she asks him to go run an errand, and a cop shows up, and it turns out that he has tragically passed away in an accident. And, or it might have been a shooting. It was a shooting. That's right. And now it's like 5 years later, I think. And Poppy is trying to do the birthday list of her ex-husband, or her husband who passed away. And she comes across the cop who told her about her husband dying, and it was Cole, and things go from there, and he helps her, and yes, it was a good time. I gave it 4 stars. But yeah, I read that on my birthday, so that was why I was trying to read like all these birthday books. I read 2 other ones, but they didn't get finished till a while. But yeah, I had a good time. 4 stars. Then I read A Thief in the Night by KJ Charles. This was a male historical, like, Audible exclusive book. It was a decent time. It was 3.5 stars. It's what the title says. It's Toby and Miles. It was a one-night stand, kind of like a, hey, you do this for me type of thing. And I think it was Toby who ended up stealing from Miles. Now, like, he stole from him after doing some stuff with him. And then now it's like a couple months later, and he's pretending to be a valet for Miles, and shows up at Miles's house, and of course things go from there. It was a decent time. I give it 3.5 stars. I listened to it on my drive up to the airport. I just needed something short because I was trying to do the Romance Takeover readathon, which I never actually completed or anything because I got really busy. Then I read For Lucy by Julie Ann. I really enjoyed this. I gave it 4.5 stars. The only reason I gave 4.5 stars is I kind of saw what was coming. Like, I knew what was going to happen. And, like, I kind of knew. I mean, you kind of find out pretty early on the truth of it all. But, yeah. So, basically, this is Tatum and Emmett. And it's a second chance romance. Post-divorce, Tatum is fully in a new relationship. Something tragic happened in their marriage. And they got divorced because Emmett had promised Tatum at the birth of their daughter, Lucy, that he would always put her first. And so he did, even at the expense of himself. And it was very depressing. And yeah, I cried. But yeah, I felt like some things took a little too long to happen for me to really, truly enjoy it. But yeah, 4.5 stars. I had a good time. I read it on the airplane. And yes. Then the next book that I finished was Get Thee Off My Lawn by Daria Vernon. This was a super fun historical romance novella. It took me way too long to read it, but I just got really busy, and reading physically was difficult. I gave 4.5 stars, only because, again, it just, part of it was me, not the book. But it is April and Leopold, and they are neighbors. April has these swans that she wants to mate, and her swan keeps going into Leopold's yard, and she thinks that it's just the old man that lives there, but it turns out his dad lives there, or his son lives there too, and yeah, they strike up a relationship, and it was a great time. I gave 4.5 stars. Probably would have given it more, but it was more of a me problem than a book problem. It was a great time. Then I finished Children of Fallen Gods by Carissa Broadbent. This is the second book in the War of Lost Hearts trilogy. This was 5 stars. I absolutely adored this book. I can't really say much because it is the second book in a trilogy, and I'm really excited to read the third one. But yeah, that is pretty much all I'm going to say about that one. Then I read Shatter Me by Tahereh Mafi, and I am not going to talk about this because I do have a vlog coming out this week that on Wednesday that I will be discussing each book in detail. So I'm not going to talk about any of the Shatter Me books, but I will say which ones I completed and when I completed them. Then I read Birthday Shot by Rilzy Adams. Again, probably a really great novella. It just took me way too long to read. Again, part of it was I was busy. I had COVID. I had all sorts of things going on. But I gave it 4.5 stars. This is a Black love island romance, brother's best friend. It's Coffee and Shay. Forced proximity. It was a great time. 4.5 stars. Again, part of it is a me problem, not the book problem. Then I read Destroy Me, which is the first novella in the Shatter Me series. So again, not going to discuss it. Then I finished Meet Me Halfway by Lillian T. James. This was super fun. I really enjoyed it. I gave 3.5 stars, but I enjoyed it more, so I think I rounded it up on Goodreads. My biggest problem with Garrett was just a little too mean at times. Like, he wasn't like grumpy in like a sweet way. Like, he was just grumpy and kind of gruff and mean. I didn't love that. But it is a single parent romance, single mom. Garrett and Madison, they're neighbors. Grumpy Sunshine for sure. She's a single mom. It is a super slow burn. Like Mariana Zapata level slow burn, but not with as many like sweet romantic moments in between. But I had a good time with it. I gave 3.5 stars. Then I finished Marry Me Darling, which is just a novella that literally takes place right after Meet Me Halfway. It was a good time. Again, 3.5 stars. Can't really say much. It's just literally more of the two of them with also with her son. Then I finished The Dark King by Gina L. Maxwell. This is compared to ACOTAR. The only thing that's similar is that it's the Night Court. But it's more of like an urban low fantasy than it is a high fantasy. So I had a good time, decent time with it. I gave 3.5 stars. This is Bryn and Caden. Faye. It's BDSM in a fantasy romance, which was fun. It's Married in Vegas, forced proximity. Obviously, there's a lot of secrets that come out. Bryn thinks she's human. Things might not be what she always believed. But yeah, I give 3.5 stars. I had a decent time with it. Then I finished Livewire by Kelly Ripa. This was just a nonfiction, my memoir-y type book that I read. It was good. I gave 5 stars. I give them all 5 stars. It was just Kelly Ripa talking about her life, and I really enjoy her life, and I loved hearing about like her kids and her and Mark and like their relationship and things. Like there was stuff that like I didn't realize, that I didn't know. But yeah, I had a decent time. Then I read Unravel Me, which is the second book, full-length novel in the Shatter Me series. Again, I'm not going to talk about it. Then I finished Risky by Aurora Rose Reynolds. This was the second book in like a small town romance series. It was decent. I enjoyed this one more than the first one. I give this one 4.5 stars. I had a good time with it. It was Blake and Everly. Everly is a single parent, and it's a boss employee, small town, forced proximity. I had a good time with it. Like I said, 4.5 stars. Then I read By a Thread by Lucy Score. This was another boss employee romance, Grumpy Sunshine. This book, my biggest complaint with it was these characters were in their 40s and late 30s, and they acted like they were in their 20s. And it is called out. The hero, what's his name? Dominic. His mom does kind of call him out, and she's like, I get it. You have trauma, like the way you were raised. I get it. But like, you're not a teenager. You're not in your early 20s. You're in your 40s. Act like a grown up. And so, yeah, it was Dominic and Allie. And yeah, like I said, that was my biggest complaint, was just that it was very young feeling, even though they were older characters. But basically, Dominic gets Allie fired from her job, and then Dominic's mom hires Allie and says, he can't fire you. Come to work here. It's for a fashion magazine. And so she goes and works there, and of course, things go from there, and he just cannot stop how he feels about her. Then I finished Ignite Me by Tahereh Mafi and Fracture Me by Tahereh Mafi. So the third full-length novel and the second novella. Then I finished The Adventures of Amina Al-Sarafi by Shannon Chakraborty. This was not what I was expecting. It's an older heroine, so she's like in her 40s, maybe even older. She's a retired pirate. She just wants to be a mom and like forget about her life, especially because her daughter's father is not necessarily the best person / being. And yeah, it was okay. I gave it 4.5 stars. It kind of meandered a lot through parts, and it was very convenient. Like everything that happened like worked out perfectly. So yeah, 3.5 stars. It was fine. And this will probably end up on Pango Books because I don't really love hardcovers and I didn't love it. So yeah. Then I DNF'd Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies. I just like I said earlier, I just wasn't feeling it. I was interested, so I am excited to read it eventually, but I have not gotten to it. But I just couldn't focus and I just wasn't in the mood for it. So that is a DNF for now, which most of my DNFs are like definitive, but this one's like one that I was just like, I don't think audio was the way to go with it. I think it's a book that I need to read physically so I can actually like follow along and keep up. Then I finished The Choice by A. Jade. This was a wild ride and broke me in all of the best places. 5 stars, obviously. Memphis and why can't I think of her name? Skylar. And you see them in the words. And so you know kind of things about this book. I'm not going to say a ton because I feel like it's a book that if you have read the words, you know what's going on, but I don't want to spoil anything. And it's kind of a love triangle. But do know that if you did read the words and how the words has like the past timeline, and then in the book there's a time jump, this is literally all in the past timeline. Like there's nothing in like the present day where we are. It's all in the past timeline. So I gave 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. Then I read Restore Me by Tahereh Mafi, another full length. Again, I'm not gonna talk about it. Then I read An Extraordinary Union by Alyssa Cole. This was one of my 12 recs from 12 friends. I had a great time with it. I gave 5 stars. This was Malcolm and Ella. And Ella is a free Black woman in the Civil War time. And she ends up like going undercover as a slave. And she meets Malcolm, who is also working as like a detective for the Union. And they're like sharing secrets and things. And of course they're gonna fall in love. It was a good time. I gave it 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. Then I finished Shadow Me. Again, not gonna talk about it. It was a novella in the series. Then I finished House of Sky and Breath by Sarah J. Maas. This was a reread. 5 stars. I love it. I think upon reread, I would put House of Earth and Blood ahead of it. But yeah, this one, just so many implications, so much going on. I really did enjoy it. And there's a whole live show discussion about it. I will try to remember to link it up above. Then I finished my yearly reread of Birthday Girl. Again, I love reading. I love reading this in March. I read it in March every year since I first read it. This year I annotated the crap out of it. Daddy Pike. I love Brie from In Love and Words. I love her annotation stickers. They just add so much fun and flair and flavor to the books. So yeah, and then the last book that I completed was Defy Me by Tahereh Mafi. Again, not going to talk about it. It is the 5th book in the Shatter Me series. So yeah, I had a good time. But yeah, that was my rapid fire discussion of the books that I completed in the month of March. If you made it to the end of this video, leave me a candle emoji. If you know, you know. Leave me a candle emoji or a cupcake, either one. And don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all the fun stuff. It really helps me out. And I'll talk to y'all in the next one. Bye.